The champagne glass shattered against marble. Elena's breath caught as the crystal exploded at her feet, golden liquid spreading across the floor like spilled sunlight. Across the gallery's grand hall, Marcus had his tongue down another woman's throat, his hands gripping her waist in that familiar way that once belonged to Elena alone. 3 months. It had been 3 months since he'd walked out, claiming he needed space to find himself. Apparently, he'd found himself pressed against a blonde in a dress that cost more than Elena's rent. "Are you all right, miss?" A server materialized beside her with a concerned expression and a towel. Elena couldn't speak. Her throat had closed, her vision tunneling as Marcus's hand slid lower down the blonde's back. The Sinclair Art Gala, the event she'd circled on her calendar for months, the night she was supposed to debut her art restoration work to the city's elite, had just become her personal nightmare. The blonde giggled. Marcus whispered something in her ear. Elena recognized that look, that predatory smile he got when he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew she was here. He'd known she'd be here. This wasn't coincidence. This was revenge. If this story has you hooked already, hit that subscribe button because this only gets more intense. Drop a comment telling me if you'd survive this kind of public humiliation. Elena's hands trembled as she set down her remaining glass, the server still hovering uncertainly. The gallery walls seemed to close in, centuries-old paintings blurring into watercolor nightmares. She needed air. She needed to disappear. She needed to do something, anything, that would erase the image of Marcus's satisfied smirk when he finally looked her way. Because he would look. He was waiting for it. Her heels clicked against marble as she moved blindly through the crowd, champagne-drunk laughter echoing off vaulted ceilings. The Heritage Museum's main gallery had been transformed into a glittering arena, and Elena was the unwitting entertainment. Elena. Her friend Sophia appeared from nowhere, grabbing her arm. "I just saw Marcus with that woman. What an absolute." "Don't." Elena's voice came out strangled. "Please don't. We're leaving. Right now." "No." The word surprised them both. Elena straightened her spine, something fierce and reckless igniting in her chest. "I'm not running. Not this time." She'd spent 3 months crying, 3 months questioning what she'd done wrong, 3 months rebuilding herself piece by shattered piece. Marcus didn't get to take this night from her too. But God, it hurt. It hurt seeing him touch someone else with the same casualness he'd once reserved for Sunday mornings and lazy kisses. It hurt knowing he'd orchestrated this public spectacle specifically to break her. Elena's gaze swept the crowd, desperate for something, anything to anchor herself. That's when she saw him. He stood alone near the Baroque collection, a dark figure among the glittering crowd. Tall, impossibly so, with black hair that fell just slightly too long to be conventional. His suit was midnight blue, tailored with the kind of precision that spoke of custom Italian craftsmanship. But it was his face that stopped her heart. Sharp cheekbones, a jaw that could cut glass, and eyes that seemed to see through the pretense and champagne bubbles straight into the raw hurt she was trying to hide. He wasn't looking at the art. He was looking at her. The stranger raised his glass slightly, a gesture so subtle Elena almost missed it. Then his mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile, more of an acknowledgement. A recognition of shared isolation in a room full of people. Elena made a decision that would change everything. She crossed the gallery floor with purpose, her red dress flowing behind her like spilled wine. Conversations paused as she passed. She felt Marcus's attention snap toward her like a whip. Good. Let him watch. The stranger tracked her approach with those unsettling dark eyes. Up close, he was even more devastating. Mediterranean features, olive skin, a mouth that promised danger and deliverance in equal measure. A thin scar traced his left eyebrow, barely visible but there. A story written in skin. Elena stopped directly in front of him, close enough to smell his cologne, something expensive with notes of cedar and midnight. "I need you to kiss me," she said. His eyebrow raised fractionally, the scarred one. "Excuse me? My ex-boyfriend is watching. He's trying to humiliate me, and I refuse to give him the satisfaction." Elena's voice was steady despite her racing heart. "You don't have to mean it. Just make it look good." For a long moment, he said nothing. His gaze traveled over her face with an intensity that made her skin heat. Then he set down his glass with deliberate care. "You don't even know my name," he said, his voice low and accented. Italian, Elena realized. The real kind, not the practiced affectation of wannabe sophisticates. "Does it matter?" "It might." He stepped closer, invading her space in a way that should have felt threatening but instead felt like shelter. "What if I'm worse than your ex?" "Impossible." Something flickered in his expression. Amusement. Interest. "You're either very brave or very foolish, asking strangers for favors at charity galas." "Desperate," Elena corrected. "I'm desperate." Honesty. He seemed pleased by this. Rare and undervalued. His hand came up slowly, telegraphing his intent, giving her time to flee. Instead, Elena held her ground as his fingers brushed her jaw, tilting her face up. "If I do this, Piccola, I do it properly. No half measures." "Fine." Is he still watching? Elena didn't need to look. She could feel Marcus's stare like a brand between her shoulder blades. "Yes." "Good." The stranger's thumb traced her lower lip. "Then let's give him something to remember." He kissed her like a man who knew exactly what he was doing. His mouth captured hers with confident precision, one hand cradling her face while the other found the small of her back, pulling her flush against him. Heat exploded through Elena's body, shock and something far more dangerous flooding her senses. This wasn't the chaste press of lips she'd expected. This was claiming possession. A kiss that said mine to everyone watching. Elena's hands found his chest, felt the solid muscle beneath expensive fabric, the steady thunder of his heartbeat. He tasted like whiskey and sin, his kiss deepening as she opened for him, forgetting the gallery, forgetting Marcus, forgetting everything except the sensation of being consumed. When he finally pulled back, Elena was breathless, her lips swollen and her carefully applied lipstick definitely smudged. The stranger studied her with those fathomless dark eyes, something predatory moving beneath the surface. Was that convincing enough? His thumb brushed the corner of her mouth, casual intimacy from a man she'd met 2 minutes ago. Elena couldn't speak. Her entire body hummed with awareness, every nerve ending lit up like Christmas lights. This was supposed to be performance. Revenge theater. So why did she feel like she'd just stepped off a cliff? She tried to find words. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet, Piccola. You have no idea what you just started." Before Elena could ask what he meant, Sophia materialized at her elbow, eyes wide as dinner plates. "Elena. We need to talk. Now." "I should go," Elena said, suddenly shy under the stranger's knowing gaze. "Thank you again." "For Enzo." He said it like a gift. "My name is Enzo Giovanni." Giovanni. The name tickled something in Elena's memory, some article she'd read, but her brain was too scrambled to place it. "Elena Moretti." "I know." At her surprised look, he smiled. "Your name is on the restoration placard. The Caravaggio study in the East Wing. Beautiful work." He'd noticed her work. Not just her, but her work. "Truly, I need to go." Elena stepped back, breaking the spell. "Thank you, Enzo." "The pleasure," he said, dark promise threading his words, "was entirely mine." Sophia dragged Elena toward the ladies' room, practically vibrating with urgency. The moment the door closed behind them, she whirled on Elena. "Do you have any idea who that was?" "Enzo Giovanni. He just told me." "Elena." Sophia gripped her shoulders. "That's Enzo Giovanni. As in the Giovanni family. As in the most powerful crime family on the East Coast." The room tilted sideways. "What?" "His mafia royalty. His father runs everything from Boston to Philadelphia. Enzo's being groomed to take over." Sophia's voice dropped to a whisper. "There was an article in the Times 6 months ago, remember? About organized crime families restructuring?" The Giovanni name was everywhere. Elena's mind raced, puzzle pieces clicking into place. The expensive suit. The unconscious authority. The scar. The way people had given him space in the gallery, not approaching, showing respect that bordered on fear. "I just kissed a Mafia heir." "You did more than kiss him. You practically melted into him in front of 200 witnesses. Sophia pulled out her phone, scrolling frantically. Look. This is him. The screen showed a grainy photo from a courthouse, Enzo in a dark suit, his face carved from stone as he descended marble steps. The caption read, Enzo Giovanni, 32, alleged head of security operations for Giovanni Holdings, leaves federal court after charges dismissed. Oh my God. Elena sank onto the velvet bench, her legs suddenly unreliable. What have I done? Created the most talked about moment of the year, that's what. Despite her alarm, Sophia looked impressed. Marcus looked like he wanted to murder someone. Mission accomplished. Marcus. Elena had completely forgotten about him. The revenge kiss had worked too well, wiping her ex from her mind entirely, replacing him with dark eyes and dangerous promises. I need to avoid him for the rest of the night, Elena said, standing on shaky legs. Enzo, I mean. This was a one-time thing. A moment of insanity. I'll stay away from him, finish the gala, and forget this ever happened. Sophia's expression said she didn't believe that for a second. They returned to the gallery to find the energy had shifted. Conversations hummed with barely suppressed excitement, heads turning as Elena passed. She'd become the story, the mystery woman who'd captured the Giovanni heir's attention. Marcus stood near the bar, the blonde nowhere in sight, his face thunderous as he tracked Elena's movement. She lifted her chin and walked past him without acknowledgement, a small victory that tasted like champagne. The rest of the gala passed in a blur. Elena discussed her restoration work with potential clients, smiled until her face hurt, and pretended not to notice Enzo's presence on the far side of the room. He didn't approach again, but she felt his attention like a physical touch, a constant awareness that made her skin prickle. At 11, Elena finally escaped into the cool October night. The museum steps were blessedly empty, the city stretched below her in a carpet of lights. She gulped air, trying to process the evening's insanity. Running already? Elena spun. Enzo emerged from the shadows beside the museum's stone columns, hands in his pockets, utterly at ease. How had he known she'd leave now? I'm not running. I'm going home. Alone. He descended the steps with predatory grace, stopping one step above her. The height difference put his face in shadow, but his eyes caught the streetlight, reflecting like a wolf's. After that display? Your ex won't let this go quietly. Marcus is an art dealer, not a threat. Everyone is a threat until proven otherwise. Enzo's voice carried the weight of experience. You used me as a weapon tonight, Elena. Weapons don't put themselves away. What's that supposed to mean? It means you've caught my attention. And I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. This was fake, remember? A favor. Was it? He closed the distance between them, and Elena's back hit the stone balustrade. Because that kiss felt very real to me, Piccola. Heat flooded Elena's body, traitorous and unwanted. You don't know me. I know you're an art restorer who specializes in Baroque paintings. You graduated from Columbia with honors. You live alone in a walk-up in Murray Hill. Your favorite coffee shop is the one on 3rd Avenue with the broken awning. You run every morning at 6, same route through the park. Elena's blood ran cold. How do you know all that? I make it my business to know things. Enzo's hand came up, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear with shocking gentleness. Especially about women who kiss me like their life depends on it. That's stalking. That's due diligence. He leaned closer, his breath warm against her temple. Your ex left the gala 10 minutes ago. He's angry, Elena. Humiliated. Men like that don't let go gracefully. So what are you suggesting? That I need protection from an art dealer? I'm suggesting you accept a ride home. My car is waiting. Every instinct screamed at Elena to refuse, to run, to put distance between herself and this dangerous man. But another part of her, the part still buzzing from their kiss, the part that felt alive for the first time in months, whispered yes. One ride, she heard herself say. That's all. Enzo's smile was pure triumph. Of course, Piccola. Whatever you say. The car was a black Mercedes, understated elegance with bulletproof glass, Elena realized with a jolt. The driver opened the door without a word, his face professionally blank despite the shoulder holster visible beneath his jacket. Elena slid across leather seats that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. Enzo followed, the door closing with a solid thunk that sealed them in intimate darkness. "Murray Hill, right?" Enzo said, and the car glided into traffic. They rode in silence for several blocks, the city streaming past tinted windows. Elena was hyper-aware of Enzo beside her, his presence filling the confined space. He'd removed his jacket, his shirt sleeves rolled to reveal forearms corded with muscle and marked with ink. She caught a glimpse of script in what looked like Latin before forcing her gaze away. "Why are you doing this?" she asked finally. "Doing what?" "This. The ride. The attention. I'm nobody. You're somebody who intrigued me." Enzo shifted to face her fully. "Do you know how rare that is? I spend my days navigating politics and violence, Elena. Everyone wants something, everyone has an angle. But you walked up to a stranger and asked for a kiss like it was the most natural thing in the world. Brave or foolish, I still haven't decided, but definitely intriguing. It was revenge. Not brave. Revenge requires courage, especially the kind that uses intimacy as a weapon." His fingers found hers in the darkness, tracing patterns on her palm that sent electricity up her arm. "Tell me about him." The ex. Elena should refuse. Should keep her pain private, maintain boundaries with this dangerous stranger. But his touch was hypnotic, and the darkness felt confessional. "Marcus Holloway. We dated for 2 years. He was charming, successful, everything I thought I wanted." Her voice cracked. "Then one day he said he needed space. That he felt suffocated. I thought it was temporary, that we'd work through it. 3 months later, he shows up with another woman to an event he knew I'd be at. He wanted me to see. To hurt. And did it hurt? Yes." The admission felt like bleeding. It hurt so much I couldn't breathe. Enzo's hand tightened on hers. "He's a fool. Any man who walks away from you deserves exactly what he got tonight. Public humiliation. You don't even know me. I know enough." His thumb brushed her knuckles, a gesture so tender it made her chest ache. "I know you put your pain into your work. That Caravaggio restoration? I saw the placard. It took you 8 months. That kind of patience, that dedication to bringing beauty back from damage? That says everything." Elena's eyes burned. No one had understood that about her work before. That every painting she restored was a promise that broken things could be made whole again. The car stopped outside her building, the driver waiting with practiced patience. Elena should leave. Should thank Enzo and disappear into her safe, normal life. Instead, she asked, "Do you want to come up?" Dangerous. Reckless. Stupid. Enzo studied her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. "Not tonight, pick cola." Disappointment crashed through Elena, sharp and unexpected. "But I will walk you to your door," he continued, opening his door before she could respond. "And I will make sure you're safe inside before I leave." They rode the elevator in charged silence. Elena's apartment was on the 4th floor, a modest one-bedroom that felt impossibly small with Enzo filling the hallway. She fumbled with her keys, hyper-aware of him behind her, his presence a wall of heat at her back. The door swung open. Elena turned to say goodnight and found Enzo closer than she'd expected, his hand braced against the doorframe above her head. "Elena," he said, her name a caress in his accented voice. "I need you to understand something. Tonight changed things. You kissed me in front of witnesses, including your ex and half the city's social elite. That put you on my radar. More importantly, it put you on everyone else's radar. I don't understand. You will." He leaned down, pressing a kiss to her forehead, chaste and protective. "Lock your door. All 3 locks. Don't open it for anyone you don't know. And if your ex contacts you, tell me immediately. Enzo. Good night, pick cola." He stepped back, already moving toward the elevator. Sweet dreams. Elena stood in her doorway, watching him disappear, her heart hammering and her mind spinning with questions she was too afraid to ask. Inside her apartment, she locked all 3 locks like he'd instructed, then collapsed on her couch, the events of the evening crashing over her like a wave. She'd kissed a Mafia heir. She'd felt alive for the first time in months. And she'd just invited him into her home like a complete lunatic. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Sleep well, Elena. I'll be in touch. E. Elena stared at the message, her finger hovering over the delete button. Instead, she saved the number, labeled it simply Enzo, and tried to convince herself this wasn't the beginning of something she couldn't control. Sleep came in fits and starts, her dreams full of dark eyes and dangerous promises. The next morning arrived too bright, sunlight streaming through her curtains with aggressive cheer. Elena's phone showed 7 missed calls from Sophia and approximately 50 texts in their group chat. She ignored them all, pulling on running clothes with mechanical precision. Her morning run usually cleared her head. Today, it just gave her time to obsess over every moment of the previous night. The kiss. The car ride. Enzo's fingers on hers. The way he'd looked at her like she was something precious and dangerous at once. You've caught my attention. And I protect what's mine. Elena pushed herself harder, her feet pounding pavement as if she could outrun her own confusion. She was halfway through her usual loop when she noticed the black SUV keeping pace on the adjacent street. Coincidence. It had to be coincidence. Except the SUV followed her through 3 turns, maintaining a careful distance. Elena's heart kicked into overdrive. She ducked into a coffee shop, the one with the broken awning Enzo had mentioned, her mind racing. Through the window, she watched the SUV pause, then continue down the street. The driver was obscured by tinted glass, but Elena caught the glint of something on the dashboard. A phone pointed her direction. She ordered coffee with shaking hands, her paranoia spiraling. Was this Enzo's doing? Some kind of protection detail? Or was it Marcus, escalating from public humiliation to something darker? Her phone buzzed. Why did you stop running? E. Elena nearly dropped her coffee. Are you having me followed? The response came immediately. Protected. Not followed. There's a difference. I didn't ask for protection. You didn't have to. I told you. What's mine, I protect. And you became mine the moment you kissed me in front of witnesses. I'm not yours. Keep telling yourself that, Piccola. My men will stay out of sight. You won't even know they are there. Elena wanted to be angry, should be furious. Instead, a traitorous part of her felt safe for the first time since Marcus had shattered her world. This is insane. Welcome to my life. Drink your coffee. You take it black with 1 sugar. Very practical. Elena looked around the coffee shop wildly, but Enzo was nowhere visible. Of course he wasn't. He had people for that. She left the shop with her coffee, hyper-aware of the SUV that resumed its distant surveillance. Instead of fear, she felt a strange exhilaration. Like she'd stepped into a story she'd only read about, where dangerous men protected what they claimed and normal rules didn't apply. Back at her apartment, Elena showered and tried to focus on work. She had a consultation scheduled for this afternoon, a private collector interested in her restoration services. Normal. Safe. Nothing to do with Mafia heirs and midnight blue suits. Her intercom buzzed at noon. Elena's stomach dropped. Delivery for Elena Moretti, the voice crackled. She approached the intercom cautiously. I didn't order anything. Delivery from Giovanni Holdings, Of course it was. Elena buzzed the delivery person up, telling herself she should refuse whatever Enzo had sent. Return it immediately. Establish boundaries. The delivery woman handed her a long white box tied with black ribbon. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, lay 24 white roses. Not red. White. Pure and somehow more intimate. The card was simple. Thank you for last night. I haven't stopped thinking about it. Or you. E. Elena shouldn't be charmed. She should be alarmed. Instead, she found herself smiling like an idiot, burying her face in the roses and inhaling their delicate scent. Her phone rang. Sophia. You've been ignoring me, her friend said without preamble. Spill. Everything. Now. Elena sank onto her couch, cradling the phone. He sent me flowers. The Mafia king sent you flowers. White roses. Oh my God. Elena. Do you know what white roses mean? Purity. Innocence. New beginnings. In mob culture, white roses are a courting ritual. He's not just interested. He's declaring intent. Elena's stomach flipped. That's ridiculous. We barely know each other. Since when does that matter to men like Enzo Giovanni? They see what they want and they take it. Sophia paused. The question is, do you want to be taken? Did she? Elena touched the rose petals, soft as secrets. 24 hours ago, she'd been a heartbroken art restorer hiding from her ex. Now she was the object of a dangerous man's attention, protected by shadows and courted with white roses. I don't know, Elena admitted. But I want to find out. The consultation that afternoon went smoothly, a wealthy collector interested in restoring a series of damaged Flemish portraits. Elena lost herself in technical discussions of pigment analysis and structural repair, her professional persona a welcome refuge from emotional chaos. She was packing up her equipment when her phone rang. Unknown number, but not Enzo's. Elena Moretti. The voice was unfamiliar, male, with a rough quality that made her instincts scream. Who is this? A friend of Marcus Holloway. He's concerned about you. That little display last night? Not a good look, Elena. Marcus wants to talk, clear the air. I have nothing to say to Marcus. That's unfortunate. Because Marcus has plenty to say to you. About your new boyfriend. About the mistakes you're making. About how dangerous the Giovanni family really is. Elena's hand tightened on her phone. Tell Marcus to leave me alone. Can't do that. He's worried. We all are. That kiss last night. You've painted a target on your back, sweetheart. The Giovannis have enemies. Those enemies now think you matter to Enzo. Do you understand what that means? Cold fear trickled down Elena's spine. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. Break things off with Giovanni before someone gets hurt. The line went dead. Elena stood frozen, her professional composure shattering. This was real. The danger Enzo had mentioned wasn't abstract or theoretical. It was Marcus's associate calling with thinly veiled threats, reminding her that she'd stepped into a world where kisses had consequences. She should call the police. File a report. Do the sensible, legal thing. Instead, she called Enzo. He answered on the first ring. Elena. Just her name, but the way he said it made her knees weak. Someone just called me. They said they were Marcus's friend. They threatened me. The words tumbled out. They said I'd painted a target on my back. That I should stay away from you before someone gets hurt. Silence. Then, where are you? Home. My apartment. Stay there. Lock your door. I'm on my way. Enzo, Did they threaten you directly? Say they would hurt you? Not exactly. It was more implied. They said the Giovannis have enemies who would think I matter to you. They're not wrong. His voice went cold, dangerous. You do matter to me. Which means anyone who threatens you has made a very serious mistake. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Don't answer the door for anyone else. He hung up before Elena could argue. 15 minutes. She had 15 minutes to decide if she was really going down this path. Once Enzo walked through her door, once she accepted his protection and his attention, there would be no going back. Elena looked at the white roses on her counter, their pristine petals a promise and a warning. She thought about Marcus's smug smile as he'd humiliated her. About 3 months of tears and self-doubt. About how alive she'd felt in Enzo's arms, like herself but better, fiercer, unafraid. When the knock came exactly 14 minutes later, Elena opened the door without hesitation. Enzo filled her doorway, his face set in hard lines. He wasn't alone. 2 men flanked him, both in dark suits, both carrying the same coiled tension as their boss. May I come in? Enzo asked, but he was already moving past her, his men taking positions by the door and window with military precision. Elena's small apartment felt microscopic with 3 large men filling it. Enzo moved through her space with focused intensity, checking window locks, examining her door frame, his phone pressed to his ear as he issued rapid commands in Italian. Finally, he turned to her. "Tell me everything." Word for word. Elena recounted the conversation, Enzo's expression growing darker with each detail. When she finished, he nodded once to his men, who immediately stepped outside, presumably to execute whatever plan he'd formulated. Alone with Elena, Enzo's demeanor shifted. He approached her slowly, giving her time to retreat. When she didn't, he framed her face with both hands, his touch impossibly gentle. "I'm sorry," he said. "This is my fault. I should have anticipated Marcus would escalate. How is this your fault? I asked you to kiss me, and I knew what it would mean. I knew it would declare you under my protection, whether you wanted it or not." His thumb stroked her cheek. "In my world, Elena, associations matter. That kiss told everyone you're mine. It made you valuable. And valuable things attract the wrong kind of attention. So what do? We. His eyes searched hers. "You're not sending me away. Should I?" "Absolutely. The smart thing would be to cut ties, publicly denounce me, go back to your safe, normal life." He leaned closer, his forehead resting against hers. "But I'm hoping you're not that smart." Elena's breath caught. "What are you really asking me, Enzo?" "I'm asking if you trust me. If you're willing to let me protect you, even though it means accepting my world. The danger. The darkness. The parts of me that aren't safe or civilized." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm asking if last night meant something, or if I've been deluding myself." Elena's answer came from someplace deeper than logic. "It meant something." "Then say yes." "To what?" "To me. To this. To letting me keep you safe while we figure out what this is between us." His hands tightened on her face. "Say yes, Elena. Let me in." She should ask more questions. Demand details. Establish ground rules. Instead, Elena rose on her toes and kissed him. This kiss was different from the gallery. Less performance, more truth. Enzo made a sound low in his throat, pulling her flush against him, his hands sliding into her hair. Elena lost herself in sensation, in the taste of him, in the solid reality of his body against hers. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Enzo's eyes had gone nearly black. "That's a yes?" he asked roughly. "That's a yes. Thank God." He kissed her again, softer this time, almost reverent. "Because I wasn't sure I could walk away twice." Elena laughed, giddy and terrified. "What now? Now you pack a bag. You're staying with me until we neutralize the threat." "Staying with you? Enzo, I have a life. Work. Responsibilities. Which you can manage from my home. It's secure, heavily guarded. You'll be safe there while my people deal with Marcus and whoever has enlisted to harass you." "Deal with? What does that mean?" Enzo's expression went carefully neutral. "It means they'll be persuaded to leave you alone. Permanently. You can't hurt them." "That's not." "I won't hurt them," he interrupted. "Unless they force my hand. But I will make it very clear that you're off limits. That touching you, threatening you, even thinking about you will have consequences they won't enjoy." It should sound insane. It did sound insane. But Elena found herself nodding, trusting this dangerous man she barely knew. "How long?" she asked. "A few days. Maybe a week." He kissed her forehead. "Pack comfortable clothes. We have an excellent library if you want to work on your research. And I promise, Elena, you won't be a prisoner. You're a guest. My guest. Your guest who can't go home. My guest who I'm keeping safe." He pulled out his phone. "I'm having a security team sweep your apartment. They'll make sure there are no devices, no trackers, nothing Marcus or his associates might have planted." "You think they've been in here?" "I think I don't take chances with things that matter to me." "Things that matter to me." Elena's heart stuttered. She packed quickly, throwing clothes and toiletries into a weekend bag while Enzo coordinated with his team. The security sweep revealed nothing, but Enzo had new locks installed anyway, heavy-duty deadbolts that made Elena's door look like a bank vault. "Your building security is a joke," Enzo observed as they waited for his car. "One lock, no doorman, broken camera in the lobby. You're moving as soon as this is resolved. I like my apartment. You'll like safety more. He softened the words with a kiss to her temple. Trust me, Piccola. I'm good at this. The car, a different one, Elena noted, larger and even more imposing, arrived within minutes. This time, Enzo didn't ask before putting his arm around her shoulders, tucking her against his side as they drove through Manhattan's evening traffic. Where do you live? Elena asked. Upper East Side. Townhouse on 72nd. My father owns the whole block, but I have my own entrance. Of course you do. He smiled at her tone. Wait until you see it before judging. The townhouse was exactly what Elena expected, elegant, historic, dripping with old money. What she didn't expect was the warmth. Inside, the space was lived in, comfortable. Books lined the walls, artwork hung at casual intervals, and soft lighting gave everything a golden glow. This is beautiful, Elena breathed, taking in a Matisse sketch that looked original. It is. But Enzo was looking at her, not the art. Let me show you your room. He led her upstairs, down a hallway lined with more artwork. Her room was spacious, with a four-poster bed and windows overlooking a private garden. Completely separate from what Elena assumed was Enzo's space. You're not putting me in your room? The words slipped out before she could stop them. Enzo's smile was pure sin. Did you want me to? I'd know. I just thought. You thought I'd assume that kiss meant automatic access to your body? He stepped closer, backing her against the doorframe. Elena, when we end up in my bed, and we will, it won't be because circumstances forced proximity. It'll be because you're ready. Because you want me as badly as I want you. And how do you know that will happen? Because, he leaned down, his lips a breath from hers, you've already decided. You just don't realize it yet. He kissed her once, hard and claiming, then stepped back. Dinner is at 8. My housekeeper, Maria, will show you where everything is. Make yourself comfortable. Then he was gone, leaving Elena trembling and aching in her borrowed room. Maria turned out to be a round-faced Italian woman in her six ties who spoke limited English but communicated perfectly through warm smiles and expressive hands. She showed Elena the bathroom, the library, and the kitchen, where something heavenly was simmering on the stove. Signor Enzo, he asks what you like to eat, Maria said, her accent thick but understandable. I make osso buco tonight. You like? I'm sure it's wonderful, Elena said, charmed despite her disorientation. You are very pretty. Signor Enzo, he needs pretty girl. Good girl. Maria patted Elena's cheek. You are good for him, I think. Before Elena could respond, Maria bustled away, leaving her alone in the guest room. Elena unpacked mechanically, her mind racing. Less than 48 hours ago, she'd been nursing a broken heart and dreading a gallery opening. Now she was staying in a Mafia heir's townhouse, under his protection, her body still humming from his kiss. Her phone buzzed. Sophia, again. Elena answered this time. Before you say anything. You're staying with him. Enzo Giovanni. In his house. Sophia's voice was an octave higher than normal. Elena, this is insane. I know. Someone threatened you because of him. Because of Marcus. He's the one who escalated this. And Enzo's solution is to lock you in his fortress. How is that better? Elena sank onto the bed, staring at the garden outside her window. I feel safe here, Soph. For the first time since Marcus left, I feel like someone actually cares what happens to me. That's Stockholm Syndrome talking. It's been one day. That's not how Stockholm Syndrome works. Elena laughed despite herself. I know this looks crazy from the outside. It feels crazy from the inside. But there's something about him. When he looks at me, I don't feel broken anymore. Sophia sighed. Just promise me you'll be careful. Men like Enzo Giovanni don't do casual. Whatever this is, he's already claimed you. Make sure you're ready for what that means. After they hung up, Elena wandered downstairs. The house was quiet, elegant spaces flowing into each other with architectural grace. She found the library Enzo had mentioned, a two-story room with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves and a rolling ladder. She was examining a first edition of the Divine Comedy when Enzo appeared in the doorway, changed into casual clothes, dark jeans and a black Henley that showcased his build. His hair was damp, like he'd just showered. "Find something interesting?" he asked. "Your collection is incredible. Some of these are museum quality. My grandfather's passion. He believed surrounding yourself with beauty makes you less likely to create ugliness." Enzo moved into the room, his presence filling it. An optimistic philosophy for a man in his line of work. What was his line of work? The same as mine. Violence, when necessary. Politics, always. The acquisition and maintenance of power. He said it matter-of-factly, no shame or bravado. But he loved books. Loved art. Believed civilization mattered, even in our world. And you? Do you believe that? Enzo was quiet for a moment, studying her. "I believe beauty is worth protecting. Whether it's art or people. I believe some things are worth getting your hands dirty for." He reached out, tucking hair behind her ear. "You, for instance. Definitely worth it." Elena's breath caught. "You barely know me. I know enough. You restore broken things. You're brave enough to use a stranger as a weapon. You drink your coffee black with 1 sugar, you run every morning at 6, and you have a tell when you're nervous you touch your collarbone, right here." His finger traced the spot, sending shivers down her spine. "You're brilliant and wounded and trying so hard to be strong. I know enough, Elena. That's not fair." "What isn't?" "You've researched me. Had me followed. You know everything and I know nothing about you except you're dangerous and connected and you kiss like." She stopped, flushing. "Like what?" His smile was wicked. "Finish that sentence, pick cola." "Like you own me," she whispered. "Good." He closed the distance between them, pinning her against the bookshelf. "Because I intend to." "Enzo. Ask me anything. Whatever you want to know. I'll tell you the truth." Elena's mind raced with questions. "The scar. On your eyebrow. How did you get it?" "Knife fight when I was 19. A rival family thought they could intimidate my father by going after his sons. They learned otherwise." "Did you kill him? The one who cut you?" "No. My brother did." Enzo's expression didn't change. "I was too busy bleeding. Luca always was more efficient." The casual mention of violence should horrify her. Instead, Elena asked, "You have a brother?" "Two. Luca is older, runs our operations in Boston. Marco is younger, handles our legitimate business interests. Then there's Isabella, my baby sister. She's at Columbia, studying law of all things. Does she know what the family does?" "Bella knows everything. She chose law school specifically to help us navigate the system." He smiled, genuine affection warming his features. "She's the smartest of all of us. And the most ruthless." Dinner. Maria's call echoed from downstairs. Enzo offered his hand. "Shall we?" Elena took it, letting him lead her to a dining room that was somehow both elegant and intimate. The table was set for 2, candles flickering between them. Maria served the osso buco with proud flourish, the braised veal falling off the bone, the risotto perfectly creamy. "This is incredible," Elena said after the first bite. "Maria's been with my family since I was born. She taught me Italian when my parents were too busy teaching me business." Enzo poured wine, something red and undoubtedly expensive. "She also taught me that food is love, and love is what separates us from animals." They ate in comfortable silence for a while, the weight of the day catching up with Elena. Finally, she asked the question burning in her mind. "What happened to Marcus?" "After we left?" Enzo's expression hardened. "My people are looking into him. His finances, his associates, his movements. By tomorrow, I'll know everything about Marcus Holloway down to his blood type. And then I'll have a conversation with him about boundaries. About respect. About what happens to men who threaten what belongs to me. I don't belong to you. You keep saying that." Enzo reached across the table, capturing her hand. "But your body knows differently. Your eyes know differently. Every time I touch you, you lean in instead of pulling away. You're here, Elena. In my home, at my table, holding my hand. Tell me again how you don't belong to me." She should pull away. Assert independence. Instead, Elena tightened her grip. I don't understand this. Us. Why me? Because you're real. Because you looked at me like I was a man, not a monster or a useful connection. Because when you kissed me, it wasn't about my name or my money or what I could do for you. It was survival. Desperation. Raw human need. His thumb stroked her knuckles. Do you know how rare that is? How refreshing. So I'm a novelty. You're a revelation. He stood, drawing her up with him. Come with me. I want to show you something. Enzo led her upstairs, past her room to a door at the end of the hall. Inside was an art studio, north-facing windows letting in fading light. Canvases leaned against walls, some finished, most not. Paint-splattered drop cloths covered the floor. You paint, Elena breathed, moving toward the nearest canvas. It showed a street scene, but abstracted, all emotion and movement rather than literal representation. Badly. But yes. Enzo watched her examine his work. My grandfather's influence. He said every Giovanni man should create something, to balance out the destruction we sometimes cause. Elena studied the paintings with her professional eye. They weren't bad at all. Raw, certainly. Untrained. But there was real talent here, real emotion. These are good, Enzo. Really good. You're just saying that. I restore art for a living. I know good work when I see it. She turned to face him. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to see me. Not the Giovanni heir. Not the dangerous man with the violent reputation. Just Enzo. The man who paints badly and reads Dante and wants you so desperately he can barely think straight. Elena's heart hammered. Enzo. I'm not asking you to fall in love with me, Elena. Not yet. I'm just asking you to see me. To give this, whatever this is, a chance. He crossed to her, hands gentle on her shoulders. Can you do that? She looked up at him, this complicated, dangerous, surprisingly vulnerable man. I can try. That's all I ask. He kissed her forehead, then her cheeks, then finally her mouth, soft and sweet and full of promise. Come on. Let's get you settled for the night. Tomorrow we'll figure out next steps. Back in her room, Elena changed into sleep clothes and climbed into the impossibly comfortable bed. The house was quiet around her, but she felt Enzo's presence even floors away, a constant awareness that should unsettle her but somehow didn't. Her phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. Not Enzo this time. You have 48 hours to end things with Giovanni. After that, consequences will be severe. This is your only warning. Elena's blood ran cold. She screenshot the message and immediately texted Enzo. Another threat. Just received. He responded within seconds. Forward the screenshot. I'm coming to your room. He appeared so quickly Elena wondered if he'd been standing outside her door. His face was dark with fury as he studied her phone. They used a burner, but we can trace it. He handed back her phone. This ends tomorrow. I'm done playing nice. What does that mean? It means I'm going to visit Marcus Holloway personally. And we're going to have a very clear conversation about what happens to people who threaten my family. Subscribe and turn on notifications for part 2. Enzo is about to show the world why you don't threaten a Giovanni. Comment part 2 if you need to know what happens next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next.